And welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to discuss stress. Now, I'm sure we all know someone who struggles with stress, and stress can have a massive impact on our well-being, of course, but it can also have a big impact on our physical health and can have other impacts on our relationships and just the general quality of our life. And in this video, we're going to discuss how to tackle stress. If you like this video, please like it and please subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications for all future upcoming videos. So I have a whole video called, how to be emotionally intelligent, and we discussed the first step in my emotional intelligence course, which you can see below. There's a link below where you can see the rest of the course. So I'm going to jump in and I'm going to assume that you've seen that other video, and I'm not going to give the whole background noise to being emotionally intelligent. But in a nutshell, we said that our emotions are nothing more than a dashboard that are telling us that something needs to change, like the dashboard on a car. We use that analogy. The dashboard on the car is not there to cause you pain. It's not there to cause you financial loss, even though you do have to spend money normally when the light on the dashboard comes up, i.e. the petrol light. But it's trying to tell you that if you want to get the best usage out of the car can't go on forever. You've got to fill up the petrol. It's trying to warn us. It's trying to protect us. It's trying to guide us as to how to get the best usage out of the car. And if you want to get further with that car, if you want to get to the next destination, if you want it to be an asset for you, then there's some things you've just got to do, like filling up the car with petrol. And our emotional dashboard is the same way. Life does not go in a straight line. I got a whole video on that as well. Life does not go in a straight line. A core principle that I live by, because when we assume that life should go in just a straight line and everything should work just the first time, then we're going to get really disappointed, and that's going to make us feel like it's just not working for us, and the expectation is just not within the reality of life, and then we're probably likely to give up. So I have the expectation that life isn't going to go in a straight line. Things don't just happen overnight, and therefore when things go a little bit off track, I'm generally okay with it because I know that life does not go in a straight line. So when life doesn't go for us in the way that we want it to go, or things seem out of control, or whatever it might be, our emotional dashboard lights up. And I've explained there's 4 main categories of emotions, of messages that are trying to guide us. They are not negative. Our emotions are not negative. Joy and excitement are telling us life is good, or life is going to be good, and life is on track. And all the other emotions, stress, anxiety, fear, sadness, anger, all those emotions and many other ones that really fit into 4 main categories, are simply telling us that the joy and excitement that we want, there's a little bit of something in the way of getting that. Life is a little bit off track. Either internally we have to change our perspective, our thinking, or sometimes we have to change in the way that we're interacting with the external world. So I want to discuss stress. What is the message that stress is trying to give us? We all know the main lights on our car, or the petrol light, the engine maintenance, and the oil one, and the tire pressure one. So if we really want to engage in this life journey that we're on, we've really got to know what our emotions means. And that's really step 1 of being emotionally intelligent, being to know what's going on for us, how these emotions are trying to serve us. And it just creates a sense of peace instead of getting stressed, or any of the other emotions. I'm getting stressed and getting into this battle, like I've somehow got to get rid of this emotion. The whole of step 1 that I discussed on the video, how to be emotionally intelligent, what is emotional intelligence, by understanding that our emotions are there to guide us, they're there to serve us, it just creates a sense of inner peace. It stops the fight. It's a message. It's a message, and it's trying to guide us, and we just have a lot more respect towards ourselves and towards the emotions. And instead of gearing up for battle, which only normally increases those emotions that we don't want to experience, instead we engage with them. We start engaging, we start having a conversation with them and start understanding what they're trying to do for us. It just creates so much inner peace. So the message of stress is very specific. I would say the stress and overwhelmed is one main category. And overwhelmed is just a higher feeling of stress. But the message of stress is very specific, and that is that there is too much going on right now, and we don't have enough time or energy to get the things done that we need to get done. And that creates a feeling of being stressed. It's, I just can't hold it all. I can't deal with everything, either because I don't have the energy, I don't have the physical energy, or even the emotional energy, or simply do not have enough time to get it done. That is the core message of stress. And trying to plow through all those things that we're trying to get done while we're stressed is not a clever way to do it, because when we're stressed, we become snappy, and we're not really in a really resourceful and powerful emotional state, and chances are it's going to take everything a lot longer. I know the times that I get stressed and I'm trying to tie up my shoelace, the shoelace just doesn't go. Now, I can tie up my shoelace. I can't say I can do it in my sleep, but I know that I can tie up my shoelace. But when I'm stressed, we lose some of our ability to function on a really high level. So how much more so when it comes to dealing with a business or coming with our kids or a spouse, whatever it might be. If we're trying to deal with those things while staying stressed, we're not going to be at our best, and other people are going to suffer. I mean, I see this the whole time. People come to me, especially for relationship work, and many of the times it might be a spouse who's struggling with stress. It might not necessarily what it is to a certain extent a marriage problem, but very much so it's an individual challenge, because marriage or an intimate relationship is the sum of what two individuals bring to that relationship. And if you've got someone who's highly stressed or highly anxious or highly depressed, well, they're bringing a lot of disempowering emotions. It's going to be very hard to relate, because that's what relationships are, the ability to relate when someone's highly stressed, because when someone's stressed, they are very, very snappy. So the goal isn't to find a way to get through the stress and get through those tasks while managing the stress. No, the goal is to engage with the stress, understand what it's trying to do for us, what it's trying to tell us, the message that is there, so that we can be emotionally intelligent and we can engage with it so it works for us, not that we're having to fight against it, because we'll never win the battle of trying to win the stress. It's just not going to work. We can't function at a high level. So we have to know how to engage with it. But knowing as a starting place what stress is trying to tell us is a great advantage. And as I said, stress, the specific message is very simple. There's too much to do, and we don't have enough time or energy to get it all done. Now, I always say when it comes to dealing with that stress, there is really only three solutions: either drop, delegate, or re-strategize. So it means you've got to delegate. It means if you've got too much to do, then you have to give it out to other people. How many people do I know who are in business who've come to see me and they're highly stressed, highly stressed, and typically they'll deal with their stress by eating lots of food or whatever else it might be, and that has terrible ramifications. That's where the negativity comes in, as I discussed in the video of how to be emotionally intelligent. When we deal with the stress by eating food, then there is a sense of negativity, because there's a negative consequence, because our body expands. So, and I always say to them, how much are you doing that you could delegate? And if you are delegating, are you really delegating in the right way? Are you holding on to all the things you've got to do, and it's just stressing you out? Sometimes you've got to delegate. And are you delegating the best way? And they come back and they start delegating, and they start understanding what is their exact role in the business, and they get a lot of clarity as to what they should actually be doing and what they should actually be passing on to other people. And then they come back and they tell me, Joe, the stress levels have gone down tremendously, because the message is no need for it to be there anymore, because they don't feel like they're holding all these tasks. I kind of compare it to a situation where you're holding 50 of your most expensive dinner plates, right? I don't know if you've ever had that experience, you're holding 50 really expensive dinner plates. But when you're holding 50 really expensive dinner plates, your whole goal is not to drop them. You're like trying to balance it. You can't even think about pulling them away, because you're too focused on making sure that nothing smashes. And if you just hold 10 at a time, then you don't have to focus on not dropping them, because 10 is manageable, and you can then focus on putting them away. And I say this is the same thing. When we're trying to hold on to 1,000 tasks that we have to do, we have to delegate, which is a form of chunking. It's a form of taking control of what we can do. And delegating is saying, this is what I can do, and this is what I've got to delegate. And then we're dropping those 50 expensive dining plates, and we're just taking the ones that we can hold and the ones that we can manage, and it releases all that stress and makes us work from a more peaceful way. I remember a specific example. I had a client who came to me and said that they were thinking of giving up their business. They were actually told by a therapist to give up their business because there was too much stress on them. And I came from a completely opposite perspective. No, that doesn't mean you should give up the business. It just means you're handling the business the wrong way. And as soon as I meet someone in business and they tell me they're stressed, my first question is, how are you dealing with your time? How are you managing your time and your task? And every time they are either taking on too much, they're not delegating enough, the stuff they have to drop, or they have to re-strategize the way that they're doing everything. So I said to this business lady, I said, tell me, where are you spending your time? You're thinking of giving up the business, let's just explore your time schedule. And they said to me, Joe, I'm spending a lot of my time dealing with the finances. And I said, well, how much do you really enjoy dealing with the finances? And they said, I absolutely hate it. It's not why I set up the business. I set up the business because I'm passionate about my products, not about dealing with the finances. So I said, in the same way that you delegate money to renting a premises, in the same way that you delegate money to renting staff and renting an internet and renting a phone line, you got to rent a bookkeeper. You got to get someone to do the jobs that take up too much time of your energy and hold you back from doing what you really want to do. And they got it, and they went away and they hired a bookkeeper, and the stress disappeared because they were getting the message. So delegating is a key way of dealing with the stress. Now, not always we can delegate to other people. Sometimes we have to delegate tasks to time. So it could be we've got 100, well, not exaggerate, let's say we've got 5 really important tasks, but you could never get all those 5 tasks done in even one day. We have to figure out a schedule. Okay, today, what is the most important task I've got to get done? What is the most urgent task that will have the greatest impact if I get it done? And then it's task 1. Task 2, I can do that the next day, and task 3, I can do it the next day, and task 4, I can do next week. Nothing's going to go wrong by me delegating it to time. I remember, personal example, I had 3 degree assignments, and one I wasn't too keen on. It was very statistical and research-based, and I felt really overwhelmed. And I remember sinking into the couch. I did step 1 of my emotional intelligence, emotional mastery system, and step 2, and I started figuring out, how am I going to delegate my time? I can't drop them. I can't delegate it to someone else. That would be cheating. And so I had to find a way. I had to delegate them to time. And I started figuring out, I wrote a whole schedule out. I've got 3 weeks to get all 3 of them done. If I spend an hour on assignment 1 today, an hour on assignment 2 tomorrow, and then another hour on assignment 1 later on in the afternoon, and and I figured out that by the end of the 3 weeks, I'd have actually time over to review it all, and I'd be fine. And instantly, everything was fine. I had no feelings of stress, no feelings of overwhelm, because I delegated those assignments to a specific time and a specific day, and I had a proper schedule. So I wasn't holding on, oh my God, I've got to get those 3 tasks done. Oh my God, I've got to get those 3 tasks done. I didn't have to get those 3 tasks done. All I had to do was the hour that I'd set myself to do within that given day on that specific task. So delegating is a really great way to release the stress, to really, really release the stress, and to make us feel back in control, that we can hold and manage the tasks that we have. Drop is another way. Sometimes we tell ourselves we have to do things that we have to do. I remember talking to someone who was running a big household, and they said, I've got to make sure I've got to cut up vegetables every single evening. I've got to make sure the vegetables are there. I said, who said, right? Well, what's more important, that you are a relaxed mum, or that your kids eat the vegetables that you want them to eat, right? I mean, just leave some whole fruit out, or who says you have to cut it up? Who says you have to go to this extreme? Not extreme necessarily, but it was, if they are highly stressed, of cutting up the veg. Just leave some carrots out, leave whatever else it might be out, leave out some fruit. But to go to this length of cutting everything up, and which is creating so much stress for you, it doesn't make sense, because you're trying to be the best mum you can be by giving the veg, but you're now creating lots of stress, and that's not going to make you the best mum, because you're going to be stressed. So is it really necessary to do this? And then they realize, no, it's not necessary to do it, and it's holding them back from being a really loving and present mum. So there are many things that we can drop. I mean, let's just think about it for a second. If we think about drop and delegating, think about all the tasks that we have right now. Are the things that we are doing that we could actually delegate to someone else? I hate DIY. Hate it. I like to think I could hopefully fix people's minds, but I can't put a screw into a wall. Completely, not capable when it comes to DIY. I can fix an IKEA cupboard, but that's about it. Put it together, I mean. So I know, why spend 2 hours of aggravation trying to get a picture on the wall when I can delegate? Yeah, it will cost me money, and I'll pay someone else to do it. So I delegate the tasks that I'm not good at to someone who is good at, so I can focus on the tasks that hopefully I am good at. So let's ask ourselves that question. If we're highly stressed right now, what tasks are we taking on that maybe we should be delegating? Whether it's at work, whether it's in our personal life, whether it's part of a family that we're involved in, what tasks could we delegate to? Delegate it to either time or delegate it to someone else. What tasks could we delegate? What things are we telling ourselves that we have to do? What tasks are we telling ourselves we have to do that we could actually drop, that aren't actually allowing us to be our best selves? They're actually holding us back from being our best selves and aren't really significant enough to hold on to. I.e., with that case with the mum, with the vegetable, her goal was to be a great mum, right? That did not, the kids aren't going to remember when they grow up, yeah, we had veg. The kids are going to remember, was mum present? Was mum relaxed? Was mum loving, or was she highly stressed and highly strung? That's what they're going to remember, and they're going to model that as well. And they might take on the idea that, to deal with life, you've got to be stressed. Is something I discuss in my emotional mastery system as well. Where we learn our kind of emotional makeup from. So how are we dealing with our tasks? Are we taking on too much? Could we delegate? Could we drop? Now, it is just the reality. Sometimes we can't drop and we can't delegate. Yeah, it's just sometimes that is a fact of life. Very far and few in between. Most cases I deal with people who are stressed, they can normally drop, they can normally delegate if they think creatively enough. But sometimes there are some scenarios where we just can't do either of those first two options, and we have to re-strategize. And re-strategize means that we have to find a quicker way to get everything done, to find a really, a better way, a more resourceful way of getting all the tasks done that we have to get done. But I always like to leave the re-strategize option to the last. That's why I mentioned it last. Let's delegate, let's drop, and then if those two options aren't available, let's re-strategize. Now, that is the core message of stress. And if we don't engage with it, with those three options, then the stress is going to continue. We're going to keep on trying to plow through those tasks with the stress. We're not going to function at a high level. People around us are going to suffer as well. The amount of families and relationships I deal with where one individual stress is having an impact on the whole family is like I could go on forever. So we've got to find a way to deal with this stress. But I will finish off with just one more point that to do with stress, what might hold us back. Now, yes, stress can be that we're holding on to too much, we're trying to carry too much. Going back to that analogy of the dining plates, we might be holding on to 50 or 100 dining plates, and it's just, we can't focus on getting it done. We're too focused on dropping them, or not dropping them. But we also have to explore our beliefs about our capabilities. It could be that we've only got a few tasks to do, but they seem like a lot. I'll say that again. It might not always be that we have a lot of tasks to do that would naturally get most people stressed. It could be that we've only got a few tasks to do. And because we have a belief system that says, I can't do this or I won't succeed, it therefore seems like a lot. It could also seem like a lot to do a certain task when we don't have the clarity as to how to get it done. It's another way that it might seem too much. But again, that's going to feel like we've got too much to do and not have the energy and time. So it could be stress is being created by our personal belief system. I'm not good enough, I won't get it done, I won't succeed, I'm not capable, I'm not consistent. Well, then even if you've got a few tasks, you're still going to get stressed because you don't believe you can carry those few tasks. But also, if you don't have the clarity in how to do with it, a lot of times people get stuck in tasks and they get stressed and say, how much clarity do you have? How much clarity do you really have in how to get done? How confident are you that you know how to get this task done? And many of the times it might come out that they don't have the clarity. They haven't got the right strategy, and that creates a stress because they're not quite sure how to get through this. Therefore, it seems like it's just so much to do because they haven't got that certainty within, and therefore they get stressed. The solution to stress is certainty. It's being in what I call being in control. And when we're stressed, effectively, that message is telling us, like all the disempowering emotions, that we're out of control. Stress is telling us there's too much to do, too many important tasks, and therefore I'm not in control of the things that I should do. And the answer is take back control. Let's build that certainty, either through drop, delegating, or re-strategizing, and through those chunking processes, we take back control and we feel certain within. But sometimes we have to explore our inner belief systems. Do I have certainty that I can achieve these tasks? Do I have certainty that I'm capable to deal with these tasks? Do I have certainty to believe that I will be consistent enough to get through them? Do I have the certainty to know how to get those tasks done? Do I have certainty within the strategy? And that really is the key message in life. The more certain we feel within, in how we're about ourselves and how we're going to deal with the outside world, our relationships, our careers, our business, and everything, spirituality, the more we're going to plow forward. But the less we feel certain, the more we're going to experience all those disempowering emotions, and from that place we're not going to be highly functional or productive. So that is what stress is trying to tell us. Let's stop trying to plow through it. It isn't going to go away, and eating food to get rid of it is a horrible distraction with negative consequences, or going to sleep doesn't solve the problem because all those tasks are still there. Let's start giving the stress the respect that it deserves, in the same way that we give respect to the dashboard on the car when the petrol light pops up, we respect it, we understand it. We don't beat up the car, we don't throw the car away. We understand that the car needs certain things to keep on going to get us from destination A to destination B. Same too with us. We're trying to get to a destination, we're on a life journey. There are going to be times where we have lots of tasks to do. And we have to know how to deal with that stress so that that journey becomes an enjoyable journey, not one that we're plowing through it. We deserve to go through life, we have the ability to go through life on that life journey and not have to be stressed, but to deal with the tasks that we have through a place of calmness, through a place of inner peace. But we're only going to get that if we respect the message of stress, and that is that there's too much to be done and we don't have enough time or energy, or there seems like there's too much to be done because we haven't got the clarity or the inner belief to get the stuff done. So I would suggest, just a piece of advice, that next time you feel stress, instead of going for some distraction or starting to plow through it, get into a conversation with yourself. What am I stressed about? What are the tasks that I believe that I have to do? What dinner plates am I holding right now that are creating this stress for me? Can I drop? Can I delegate? Can I re-strategize? Do I believe that I can get them done? Do I have the right strategy? And if we do that, then we're really engaging with the stress in a really emotional, intelligent way.